How's it going, everybody? Today I'm here with Shane Rowe. He's been inside Coaches Connect. I'm excited to dive into his story, see where he started, kind of what it looked like before, what's changed since joining with us, and then what his experience has been like. First off, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, for people who don't know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
For sure. My name's Shane Rowe. I'm the owner of Rowe Performance. We're a strength and conditioning company in South Florida, and we primarily service youth baseball players.
Awesome. And then, are you mainly a sport coach, an online coach, or a facility owner, or kind of a mix?
Before Coaches Connect, just a facility owner. Since I've been in Coaches Connect, I've been able to expand online as well. Um, so pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and then what kind of athletes do you work with? Is it just one sport with the baseball players, or do you work with a variety?
So my youth side is all baseball. On the professional side, I work with a lot of NFL athletes. So a lot of my mornings are consumed with NFL athletes, and then a lot of my afternoons are all baseball.
Awesome. So now that we know a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you kind of serve, I'd like to dive into where was your business at before Coaches Connect?
In terms of like financials, like finances.
We could start there. Also, that and like, what were you struggling with as far as like with what you were trying to accomplish or provide? Kind of what were the key things that were kind of giving you, you know, tough, tough time before Coaches Connect?
I was struggling with time management. I felt extremely spread thin. Um, I had so many things to do. I felt like I was just, mistaking movement for achievement. I was just doing all these different things, but I wasn't really moving the needle forward. Um, so I feel like Coaches Connect really gave me some clarity on that, on really how to have efficient time management, how to be a business owner, how to be a husband, be a father, and still perform at a high level, and also, be a human, not a robot, per se. So I feel like that has really helped me for sure. Just
Yeah,
understanding my time management.
almost like it takes how the way you go about training guys, you have a system. It almost like gave you a system, but for running your business.
100%.
Awesome. And then what did that last season of business, I remember looking back to the kind of that beginning call that we had, but with AJ and everything there, but what would that this season of business look like before Coaches Connect as far as like financial wise?
So when I first inquired about getting started with Coaches Connect, I think we were doing about 14,000 a month. And that was just about breaking even. So I was pretty upset with how much hard work I put in over the years, and I was still just breaking even. And then once I got into Coaches Connect, I consumed as much information as possible in a short amount of time, see what I needed to know, and I just applied it. And within 2 weeks from being in Coaches Connect, I went from 14 to 22,000 in 2 weeks, and that's just because I just knew how to create an offer, and I knew what I needed to do to get to that next level. There was just so much clarity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I remember, AJ specifically saying inside Coaches Connect that you were kind of a younger version of him as far as like the work ethic was there. You were putting in all the work, but not really moving the needle, like you said. And then once you kind of got that clarity, got the system, it was like, all right, immediately you saw the results. And so
100%.
I wanted to ask before you started and before you joined on that
Mm-hmm.
call, was there any, objections or was there any things that you were kind of like maybe nervous about, unsure about before you decided to kind of move forward?
100%. There was a lot of uncertainty. Obviously, it wasn't a small investment for where I was at. Um, but I was thinking with emotions. I wasn't thinking with intelligence and wisdom. I was just thinking of like, oh, I can't spend this money or I can't do this because I have all these other um, requirements outside of my business, if that makes sense. But when I was able to like really just take a step back and just like, okay, what is the intelligent decision to make? I was like, okay, I need to move forward with this. So I took the emotion out of thinking out of it. You know what I mean? Like, what's my wife? What is my wife going to say? What if I can't do this, or what if all these different things that came into my head? I was just like, you know what? I just need to go and do this because this is what's holding me back, not investing into myself. And
Yeah, no,
this is the first time I invested into myself, and I had a 10x return on it already.
Yeah, no, I like how you said that because so many coaches or really anybody in life, but they deal with that where it's like when they go to make a big decision, the first thing is like the emotional pain of like, what's my family going to think? How am I going to provide this? And they think about this stuff. And it's like sometimes you have to take that back seat. Where like, what would you tell someone if they asked you, hey, should I move forward with this? You know, and it's like, oh, okay, now I can kind of make an educated decision as opposed to kind of an emotional one.
100%. And the pain where I was at was way more painful than the investment that I was about to make, if that makes sense. So I just felt so much pain, and the pain that I felt was way more than the investment. So I'm like, I have to do this.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I have to
And then,
switch something up.
mhm. Fast forward to now, where would you compare yourself as a business owner from where you before you started to where you are now, as far as really just everything, the clarity, kind of the systems in your business, kind of where would you compare it to Shane, a handful of months back in the fall to Shane now?
um, I feel like I just feel like I'm a lot more intelligent with the decisions I make. I feel like I'm a little bit more articulate with the way I talk and the way I go about things in my business. And I just feel like I'm a little bit more professional, and I present myself in a certain way, where before I didn't.
Yeah, would you say it's almost like the kind of the headline of like you went from just like coach to like full CEO?
100%. 100%.
Nice. And since that time, how much time have you gained back as far as like in your personal life from kind of making that transition where it was like I'm just coach to now I do coach, I'm still coaching, but I'm also the CEO. Have you been able to kind of take back and remove a little bit of yourself from the business?
100%. And I'm able to, I'm able to be a husband again. I'm able to be a father to my two kids that, I have a 2.5 year old and a 8 month old. So I'm able to be, a father towards them. Where in the beginning, I just felt like I was from sun up to sundown. I was just going, going, going. But now I've been able to put some systems and some processes in place to where I can leave early. I can go hang out with them. I could be the person, I could be the best version of myself that I can be. Where before I was just spread so thin, I was, physically with my family, but I was mentally somewhere else, and now I've been able to disconnect from that because of the processes that I have put in place.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's almost like you spend so much time focusing on serving the athletes and trying to do the best for them that you forget to like serve the people in your personal. It can be harder to serve the people in your personal life. So that's awesome to hear. Yeah. Now, as far as kind of with the athletes and what really helped when you got into Coaches Connect and really took you to the next level, what was the most valuable part that you feel like you've gotten out of it so far? Out of everything in there, I know there's a lot, but if you had to say like what part you really feel like you took the most from, is there one that kind of jumps out?
Um, Honestly, just understanding that there's no one thing that's going to fix it. There's no like golden nugget per se. Just understanding that it takes time to build something great and to be patient and to enjoy the process, as you're building something great. I used to look for the short fix, like, oh, what can I do to fix this? How can I go from 10 to 50? You know what I mean? $1,000 a month. And it was like, it's not going to happen like that. You need to, you know, put in the work and sacrifice the time to build something great. So I feel like being in Coaches Connect and being around AJ really helped me understand like it's okay to spend X amount of time on a project to make something extremely good. So that was one thing that really helped me. Another one was, a sales process and creating a good offer. Um, Once I went through the sales process videos on Coaches Connect, I I literally did what AJ told me to do, and within 2 weeks I was selling out. Um, and I didn't change a lot. I just did what AJ told me to do. You know what I mean? Go about the sales process and ask these questions, and my closing rate was just increasing.
Yeah, and it's almost like failing faster, where it's like you were such a hardworking guy from the beginning, but once you got the right processes, was it kind of like, all right, I know I have a big project. I remember you built out a school community. Is that correct?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and it was like I just need to get stuff on there to start. I think a lot of people And we've seen coaches when they start with us, they get stuck in like that building phase where it's like I'm always trying to build something and I'm always kind of working towards it, but I don't actually put anything out. How did that kind of concept work for you where it's like I'm going to set a deadline and absolutely crush it for like a big project? Was that kind of something that you did with the school community?
Yeah. And honestly, over time, like I've been coaching for, 10 years. I've ran my own business for, the last 6, 7 years. And I realized I was working hard, but I wasn't going anywhere. So what I realized is there was a big disconnect between what I wanted to do and then the action behind what I needed to do. And when I understood, like, I just need to do and I need to fail and I just need to figure it out, that was when I started having the most growth. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of people search for all these videos. Like I was one of them looking at all these YouTube videos. What can I do? What can I do? And I realized I'm wasting all this time and I'm not implementing the things that I'm actually learning from these videos. Like just put action behind the one thing that you're going to do and just see if it works and then refine it, then make it better. Refine it, then make it better. And that is one thing that I've learned within the last 6 months that has really helped me a lot.
Yeah, no, I love to hear that. I mean, I think there's so many coaches out there that they take in a lot of information, but they never actually act on it. They just kind of continue to take in more and more information. So it's great to see you kind of getting into Coaches Connect and you just did the thing. And it was like the results were so immediately. And, to see where you are now is really awesome.
You
Um,
don't need more information, you need more action. Just do. And that's the biggest thing that I see with other coaches and coaches that are, just getting started is they don't put action behind, what they say they're going to do because they're scared of how they're going to look or what is this person going to say? And it's like, no one cares, just do it. And then that's where the real growth happens.
yeah, would you say that's what you feel like separates the people who really they want to stop being inconsistent and they want to get where they want to go versus the people that kind of stay stuck forever and just be coach?
100%. And, you know, m- going back to that one question where what made me get into my what made me invest into myself and get into this community. I put so much time and effort, 7 years of my life trying to build something and realized I wasn't where I needed to be. And I realized I spent 7 years of my time and I wasn't willing to spend another 7 to learn the information that I needed to learn. So I realized that I can either learn the information from my money or my time. And one of those I can get back. I can get my money back, but I can't get my time back. And when I understood that, that's when everything just exploded for me.
Yeah, no, I love that because there's a lot of coaches where it's like they are the right person. You were obviously from the moment that AJ I think got on the phone with you, he knew this is the right person for Coaches Connect. But you just needed the time. You're like, I need to buy some of my time back. And I feel like the moment you joined, it was like you sped up. You were probably going to get there eventually because of the type
A
of
hundred
person,
percent.
the type of
The
person you
person,
were. Yeah, you were going to eventually get there, but it was like the speed in which you were able to make all that happen. Probably, I mean, you probably saved a few years just from like how fast you acted once you got in there.
100%. And that's if there's any other coaches that are watching this, that's the one thing that I would say to them is you can't buy your time back, but you can get your money back. So you definitely need to invest in yourself to get to that next level because it gives them clarity. It tells them what they need to focus on and what they need to do. Um, as business owners, we have so many ideas that come to us. We just don't know which way is the right way to go. But with Coaches Connect, there's clarity. It's like, hey, no, you need to go do this, and don't do anything else until that's made or until that's done. And then you don't go through the day-to-day stress of like, I'm sacrificing all this time, but I don't know if I'm going to get anything out of it. You know what I mean? Um, and then that's when most coaches just quit because they don't know if they're going to get it returned. But when they're around other coaches that are like, hey, you have to do this. This is what we're doing. Now we're doing X amount a month. It's like, okay, let me just keep pushing through this.
Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of hop on this call with me because I think your story, your advice, kind of everything you've gone through is going to be super valuable, whether it's an online coach, a facility coach, someone that's just doing lessons, like where they are right now and kind of where they can be. I think it's going to be super valuable for those that are trying to grow their business. So I really appreciate you. I think it's awesome to see kind of what you've been able to accomplish since joining Coaches Connect, and I'm sure we're going to continue to see you post in the wins category in the school community. So I'm excited to see that.
For sure. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Take care.
Yes, sir. Bye.